On the policy side, we need to look at integration. The other thing is that we've done generation historically without looking at the entire value chain. So there's a lot of effort now being put into putting together, for example, the IG-SEP. I think we did our first a couple of years ago. The revised one is so this is the indicative generation capacity expansion plan. So knowing what power is going to come where, in what location, and by what date, and then tying it up to a transmission network. This has been one of the biggest problems. So we've got power being generated in an area and no way to evacuate it. And then offloading or sort of balancing it with the right amount of renewables. And I think we're still lagging behind on policies around storage. There's a lot of room in tariff rationalization. So at this point in time, Fasi, it's very ironic. We've got a small proportion of Pakistan's customers, but they're heavy power users. And they get charged on peak and off-peak rates. Those timings, the rates, they do not match the actual demand peaks and troughs. I mean, the whole point is to do peak shaving and make sure that there is more stable demand. There are no ginormous blips, which is what we're experiencing right now. We're literally in the duck curve. So there's a lot of room for tariff rationalization. So that's one thing that we can focus on. And these are quick decisions that can be taken with stakeholders. Then there is technology. So you've got tariff, technology, and then planning. So we've got the planning part slightly under control. We now need to look at technology and tariffs with a very holistic view. We also want to make sure that we don't leave anybody worse off than they were before, because energy consumption, I mean, you have to understand 65% of my consumption comes from domestic customers who actually exist below the 300 units per month threshold. It's a huge, huge population that we have to be mindful of. They're at the bottom of the pyramid, and they're the largest fragment. So if we do anything which upsets that segment, we sort of stand to shake the entire power chain. So the momentum is huge, and the worst affected is actually your biggest base. That makes the problem big. We have to invest and make industrial tariffs a lot more lucrative so that growth comes back and there's some balance.
Thank you. I think that's one key reason, right? We're not seeing any growth in the industrial sector right now. It's quite tragic. Alex, Yanni, I just have a question for both of you. What are your experiences in Pakistan? What are your operations in Pakistan? What are you looking to do in Pakistan right now?
So we have been, as I said before, 38 years. Our entire local management is all from Pakistan. So for us, our drive is very simple. We need to continue to grow Pakistan now. As it was indicated a little bit earlier, the mining sectors is becoming a new pillar from the Pakistan economy. So I think we're going to see a bigger growth. Obviously, we talk about the Reko project, which probably is a cornerstone that your Prime Minister, as well as the Army Chief and the rest of Pakistan government mentioned a few months ago. That project needs to happen. The moment this is happening, I think there is going to be so much more mining project. So for example, a mining project like Reko require about 200 megawatt power generations to provide the electricity for the mine to work. The beauty of this project, it will be automatically connected with solar. So these guys developed the power generation, thermal one, but they also made it sure to have renewable implemented into this project. So this project will have about 150 megawatt of solar, and then will be backed up by the thermal power generation. So they will optimize their production, trying to get the maximum energies out of the solar. So I think this is, in the mining industry, maybe Pakistan is going to be the last one coming in line, but they are going to be actually the one that is the most innovative in terms of generating green energies or using green energies to power their mining industries. The rest of the world is still way behind. So I think this is a good step. Of course, now what we need to do is build more competencies around this, because we need to make sure to understand how do we capture this energy. So we need a lot of electricians, a lot of automation experts, mechanical, I think Pakistan has a lot, but it's the rest, the software, the modeling, the system modeling. This is the new area where we see a bigger growth coming, and this is to control the mining equipment for Metso, as well as our technology, as well as the connectivities of this site. So I think that's where we see the bigger growth in Pakistan, at least in the mining sector. Big boom. So if you guys want mining, you better go there.
Yanni, you want to add?
So what we would like to do here, for sure we would like to find a place for the first project, industrial scale biogas or biomethane project. And for that we need like correct partners which are which could come from the food industry sector or from the sector which is creating like good quality organic raw material for the process, and then we need local company who could be the off-taker for the gas. Also, we are ready to put some support from our side. I know that your main local financiers are ready to support also this kind of projects from the financing point of view. So we would like to create successful case, pilot case, which will be a good example for the future projects. That is what we are looking for at the moment, and there is already couple of options for that, but definitely I'm interested to evaluate also on other things, and during the next 2 years, we are definitely in the place that you really can see successful biomethane or biogas production in your country.
Ask one last question. We have surplus power. This could be Sadia, anyone else. What's the potential of EV in Pakistan? Is it going to pick up soon? No, any idea?
I think there's an EV policy in the works. There's a tariff being developed. We've got some big EV service providers in the country. We've got some EV manufacturers also. I think BYD has come to Pakistan. We've got a lot of potential on the two-wheelers. That's a predominant mode of transportation used by the larger chunk of the population. So I've spoken to a couple of EV manufacturers, and I think swappable batteries is the silver bullet that they're looking for, which they keep saying is going to revolutionize this market. I hope that day comes soon. And I also fear that once that boom comes in, it will blindside us just like the solar revolution did, and we'll backflip back to an energy deficient country, because the differential and the cost benefit of owning an EV, once you bring down the cost of the actual vehicle, it outweighs owning a traditional two-wheeler or even a four-wheeler for that matter. So there is serious works in the process. We've strongly advocated for ensuring that the tariff allows us for peak shaving. So, the highest consumption time of the day where demand is highest should also have the highest tariff. So, you discourage. Again, this is something which is not time-bound. Charging can be done at night time if that's what it requires. So there is definitely a lot of potential in Pakistan. There are some impediments, and I know there is active work being done on it, so fingers crossed. We're looking at it as the next frontier of growth for sure.
Okay. Thank you so much. Alex, Yanni, any final remarks?
I was going to give a short question again to K-Electric. Any look at data centers? Because this is going to be, we talk about EV market, but data center is coming big, exactly. So what's the plan there?
So we actually energize and we provide energy for customers. So we have an industrial support unit. We have a dedicated team, and we try to fast track applications and support any new businesses coming in. Unfortunately, the process of applying for a new connection is governed, and that process needs to be simplified majorly. We're talking to a lot of businesses, particularly I think there's a lot of interest from Chinese investors. And there's talk of a data center from the crypto side as well. So those conversations are actively under play, and we're exploring them as power providers. We've got excess power, so we're in the market to sell it as much as possible. There's data centers, there's EV policy, mining for sure. I think there's some businesses being set up in the Port Qasim area, which is coming up big and strong. So a lot of support to industrial parks to facilitate this kind of growth.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nobody knew that AI will come. All the predictions were done 5 years ago. No one didn't have any idea how much the demand for electricity is actually growing.
True.
And do you know now? That's my question.
So obviously we don't know now, but we know we are learning from experience. So I'm based in Dubai. We all know it's quite rich countries in general. They have very solid grid structures. As you know, the rulers, Sheikh Mohammed, have actually made a very clear roadmap that by 2030, net zero. And basically last year they hit big stones, because they also realized that they needed to deploy more data centers. And data centers, as K Electrics mentioned to us, is consuming electricity 24/7. And it becomes actually something that AI, security, cybersecurity is more and more requirement. And every country is basically starting to look at, say, I need to have my proper data center structure. So what happened today is that, unfortunately, even in a country that is well designed and organized, like the UAE, for example, they needed it to buy, in an emergency, 1.5 gigawatts of non-efficient thermal power generations to compensate the gap that they don't have to provide power generation for their development of data centers. So I think today, this is the biggest challenge. Data center, AI are actually going to drive our energy demand much higher, and it could affect actually the roadmap to net zero. And that's the biggest headache, because now you need to define, where do I go first? Do I go AI, data center, do I slow it down, or do I go net zeros? And I think this become, for Europe, it's become for America, it's become for very rich countries, a massive problem that they didn't plan on time. So again, understanding your dynamics, making modeling of your system regularly is helping the countries to counter those kind of changes.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Yanni, Alex, for coming all the way here, going, in these 3 days. You're safe, yes. And Sadi, thank you for making time on a short notice. And thank you, everyone. I hope this was helpful. So a round of applause for the panelists, please.